Is Assassin's Creed Odyssey worth playing, worth buying? You're about to find out. Richani TSC, your home for sports and gaming news, updates, reviews, and everything in between. With Assassin's Creed Valhalla right around the corner, I decided to dive into Assassin's Creed Odyssey Ultimate Edition, especially with needing a welcome distraction with everything going on right now with the total non-stop bad news. Now, I am a huge Assassin's Creed fan, but I'm not gonna lie. I consider myself a traditional AC player, with Assassin's Creed 3 being my low-key fave. However, Odyssey took me off guard, mainly in a good way. When you fire up Odyssey on PC, you'll notice it's not your traditional Assassin's Creed game. In fact, it builds upon the RPG elements of Origins to the point where it's a full-blown RPG. The best way I could describe Odyssey is if you combined a modern open-world RPG with old-school Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, Rise, Son of Rome, and For Honor. If that sounds fun to you, it's because, for the most part, it is. In Odyssey, you could either play as Alexios or Kassandra, and the gorgeous ancient Greece. Both were born into Spartan royalty, only to be dealt a horrific hand that finds them orphaned into their adult lives. Without giving too much of the story away, your character starts out as just a mercenary or a mystic, and finds out over time that maybe, just maybe, their long-lost family isn't really all that lost. Throughout the game, you make your way through historical landmarks, gorgeous landscapes, and even the Olympics. Do yourself a favor. Anytime you synchronize a location, just take in the scenery for a second, because Ubisoft, when it comes to the aesthetics, outdid themselves. As for the gameplay, the combat is pretty smooth and insanely customizable. You can be a master archer, poison expert, fire blade bearer, and king of the spear all in one, depending how you upgrade your character over time. Like other AAA RPGs, you can upgrade all kinds of gear, abilities, your ship, and even your crew. One thing I love about the Odyssey upgrades is engravings, which allows your weapons to increase their damage, especially with fire and poison. By the way, if you're getting any value from this review, please like and consider subscribing and turning notifications on for more videos like this. Now, unlike RPGs like Witcher 3, there are no potions you could take during combat, so make sure you have the restore health ability or duck, dodge, and if necessary, hide so you don't desynchronize back to your last save. As for the content, Ultimate Edition comes with Odyssey that provides around 100 hours or so of quests and activities, along with its 2 DLC packs, including Legacy of the First Blade and the Fate of Atlantis. And it includes Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered and Assassin's Creed Liberation Remastered. The cutscenes look great and don't wear out their welcome, and the voice acting is tremendous.
Let's hear it then. What do I have to do?
What will we do, you mean? As the brains to your brawn, I consider it a joint effort.
Of course you do.
Think, what does the Cyclops value most? His men? His land? His ships? No, his obsidian eye.
Get to the point, Marcos.
Within Assassin's Creed Odyssey itself, you have your usual sneaking in and out to assassinate enemies, taking over enemy territories. You have crazy ship battles, creepy wild animals. You can stalk these evil cult leaders, and you can even go to war in epic conquest battles that literally shift the balance of power between Sparta and Athens. You also have a world map that is absolutely, positively gigantic, if not insanely bloated. As a huge fan of Assassin's Creed and Greek history, I thoroughly enjoyed the Odyssey story, but I gotta say, the criticisms regarding the size of the world hampering the narrative are pretty accurate. That's not to say you won't enjoy the story at all. I sure as hell did. Just be ready to stay patient as you go from region to all across the world to complete these quests, some that are definitely not close to each other. Make sure you synchronize and unlock fast travel whenever you can. So let's say you're like me and you beat the main story. Time for the DLC, the downloadable content. But wait, in order to play Fate of Atlantis, you needed to have completed these quests that Ubisoft kindly doesn't outline in its own game. I had to Google these quests and YouTube them and got the info from fellow gamers. Not only is that kind of inconvenient, but how the hell do you beat the main story only to not be able to access the DLC?
That doesn't make any sense.
Now, I should note that Legacy of the First Blade is playable. That is playable. That's great. But the Atlantis DLC, you can't play unless you complete certain quests, including beating Medusa, who's absolutely insane. They offer you a chance to play the DLC bypassing these quests, but you have to start a new character. So Alexios, who I invested 80 freaking hours in, is pretty much rendered useless. That's utterly ridiculous. When I beat the main story in Dragon Age Inquisition, I was able to immediately play the DLC. Same with Witcher 3. Same with Spider-Man on PS4. Same with most games. But for some stupid reason, I can't do that with Odyssey. I don't regret buying or playing Ultimate Edition at all. But come on, man. This is a ridiculous requirement Ubisoft should have removed in a recent update or something. There's gotta be a better way to reward players who beat the main story than with a, hey, congrats! Now here's some ambiguous information on how to access the Atlantis DLC. I will be reviewing the DLC in a separate video, but when it comes to the base game, when it comes to the Ultimate Edition, what's the verdict? Graphically, I give Odyssey a 9.5 out of 10. An absolutely gorgeous PC game with great effects, jaw-dropping scenery, nice cutscenes, and badass battle sequences. Gameplay, I give the game a 9 out of 10. Super smooth and easy to get a hang of over time. The further you progress, the more goodies you get to make enemies' lives a living hell. I'm not much of a stealth guy, but if there was ever a game that makes the slow and subtle approach fun, it's definitely Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Content, I give Odyssey a 9.5. I wanted to go a full 10, but the Atlantis DLC fiasco takes this a notch down. As for the base game, this is legit one of the best titles you can play, especially in times like these when most people are staying home if possible. There is so much to do here, almost too much, and while it can get a bit repetitive, you can pretty much say that about any RPG. My favorite part about the content in Odyssey is that it really is like multiple games in one. Assassinating like old school AC, ship battles like Black Flag, conquest battles like For Honor. There's even your occasional wacky fun side quests. The Odyssey world, it's definitely bloated, but hey, that's first world problems compared to everything going on in the actual world. Hopefully, Ubisoft will tighten things up in Valhalla with less quests that feel like time wasters and even more content directly related to the main story. And remember, you get AC3 and Liberation Remastered with the Ultimate Edition on top of the DLC. Overall, TSC gives Assassin's Creed Odyssey Ultimate Edition on PC a 9 out of 10. Whether you choose to buy Valhalla or not, make no mistake about it. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is definitely worth your time and money, whether you buy it separately or download it as part of your Uplay Plus subscription. For $40 or less, Odyssey Ultimate Edition is a must-have. Just apologize to your friends and family ahead of time for the countless hours you're about to put into the game. If you'd like to buy Odyssey, click the links in the description and comments. Full disclosure, we get a small cut from your purchase that helps support this channel. And if you enjoyed this review, please like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications for more game reviews like this. You better believe we'll be covering Valhalla. And until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the game.